Hey there, I'm your host, and today we're going to have a real talk about electric vehicles, EVs. You know, the shiny, futuristic machines that promise us a greener world. Well, here's the truth. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. Did you know that when considering the full production process, EVs actually emit more CO2 than our old school internal combustion engine, ICE vehicles? Shocking, isn't it? We're not talking about a small difference here, but a significant one. That clean, green image suddenly looks a lot less vibrant, doesn't it? And there's the big question of resources. Making those hefty EV batteries means moving 500,000 pounds of earth per battery. Talk about a heavy footprint. Moreover, the minerals needed for these batteries aren't abundant. There's an ethical concern and production challenges tied to the extraction. But let's switch gears. Picture this. We've all made the leap, bought an EV, and are ready to plug it in. There's just one problem. Our power grid is already stretched thin. And what about those living in rural communities? The current charging infrastructure is woefully inadequate. It's like buying a phone without a charger. What happens if Maryland decides to make ICE vehicles illegal? Will consumers just hop over to the other states to buy their cars, impacting local economies and jobs? Now let's get real about some other challenges we're facing. First off, the batteries are a fire hazard. I mean, insurance companies won't even let us store them inside our buildings because once they start burning, there's no stopping them. And if you live in a coastal area in Maryland, salt water can be a problem for these batteries too. The big question, what do we do when these batteries give up the ghost? Our landfills are already struggling, and here's something you may not know. The consumer demand isn't quite there yet. We've got EVs piling up at dealership lots, and all because of government policies and not actual consumer interest. Let's not forget about hybrids. They're easier for consumers to adopt, need fewer resources to produce, and are a solid stepping stone towards a greener future. Maintenance is another headache. Working on an EV battery isn't like tinkering with your old ICE vehicle. It requires specialized equipment, safety gear, and a whole lot of courage to face those 600 plus volts. Then there's the used car market. An EV battery only lasts about 5 to 7 years. After that, replacing it might cost more than the car's value. So what happens to those old used BEVs? Affordability is another concern. BEVs are expensive and charging costs can add up. Not exactly the budget-friendly option we were hoping for. Charging time is another hurdle. Who has an hour to spare every 200 miles just to charge their car? Not me, and I bet not you either. Finally, the cost to manufacturers and dealers is astronomical, and it's unlikely that they'll ever recoup it. So where does that leave us? We want a greener future, but the road there is fraught with challenges. The point here isn't to demonize EVs or halt the progress. It's about having a real, honest conversation about the challenges we face and finding ways to overcome them. Because the journey to a sustainable future should be just that, sustainable. But hey, every challenge has its opportunities in disguise, right? So let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.